And we're live. Welcome back to episode number 97 of the iFilmmaker podcast. My name is Ariel Martinez. We got Mr. Ceratelli.
Yes, sir. We
What's
are
up, buddy?
back. We are back. Look at us, like coming back early week after doing one late in the week last week.
Yeah, I thought it's only fair for us making people wait for our episodes. It's a nice little treat there. And actually, we're gonna want to put out episodes number 98 and 99 quickly.
And why is that?
Because we have a special guest for our 100th episode. We're having Mr. Ryan Conley of Film Riot coming on the show. It's going to be a three-way chat between us three, and we're going to talk about some lovely filmmaking goodies. Yeah, we're going to have him on the show. And hopefully, if you're listening to this on iTunes or SoundCloud or Google Play, and you might already still be subscribed to the YouTube channel, but if you're not, I advise you guys to get subscribed, because that is the only place where it's going to be live. We're going to do it live. And here's the thing, though. We're probably not going to get episodes number 97 and 98 and 99 out before then. So what's going to happen, though, after it's been live, it's going to go private until we release it on iTunes. So if you don't catch it live, you're gonna have to wait a little while until after we release 98 and 99, and then you'll be able to check out that episode afterward. Though,
don't forget to hit that little bell too, because just in case you're busy on Friday and you might forget, it'll alert you and let you know that we're online, and that's gonna be at 12 Eastern on Friday. What is the date? Friday is the
18th, I believe.
18th, 19th. Hold on, guys. Sorry about that.
Yeah, Friday the 18th. It's going to be at 12 p.m. Eastern time. So both Mr. Ceratelli and myself are on Eastern time. He's in New Jersey. I'm in Miami. We're on the east, the eastern side of the United States. So I guess go by that time zone. So yeah, you guys know where you're at.
Yeah, we got listeners from all over the world. Someone just said hello from Ukraine. I have no idea, my friend, how to say your name here. Fedor Kuryachchi. Welcome from Ukraine. So yeah, I mean,
if he said that wrong, go ahead and blast him.
Yeah, blast me chat. But yeah, we have people from all over the world. So 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when it'll happen. So figure out your time zone and catch us live. It'll be awesome.
Sure. That's going to be fun. So in addition to that, we want to go ahead and let you guys know that we have some good stuff in the works. We have some collaborations coming up with some good companies. I'm not going to say their names yet because nothing is final yet, but we have things in the work. I'm very excited for that. And for those of you that have been following us from the very beginning, thank you. And those of you that are starting to come on, welcome. But we have some great things in the works. Very excited for our 100th episode, and we're going to continue to move forward. This is something that, again, we're just a couple of freelancers that, we do our jobs and then we come and talk about what we do on our jobs. But I also want to start focusing on getting other people on the show, start talking about other people and how they do their jobs and things like that. So I think that's going to be pretty cool. So stay tuned for all that stuff.
Yes.
So for today's episode, I thought it'd be great to talk about what I've been, I guess, posting on social media a lot. So lately it's funny because I've been bashing Adobe because they needed to get their act together and things like that. The funny thing is, a lot of people have been giving me like the same exact feedback that they're going through these issues as well. Adobe is crashing. It's just not working like it used to. And you know what, just to be clear, things like this happen all the time, with softwares and all that stuff. There's going to be there's times where even Apple, their operating systems are just not working, and it's a simple firmware update and they fix it. That seems to be the problem here. So just to give you some context to what I'm talking about, for those of you that I guess don't follow me on social media just because you're jerks, I've been posting, the the fact that, you know, my Adobe Premiere on my regular, so I have a desktop computer, which is my monster editing system, and I have a laptop that, you know, 2.5 years ago or so, I used to edit like 6K raw files from the Red Dragon, and I was editing those perfectly. I had no issues with that whatsoever. Today, you know, my Premiere crashes if I upload some footage from my Sony FS5, you know, and it's crazy. I've been trying to figure out why that's been happening. And, you know, it got to the point where I started thinking, man, I need a new laptop. That's just bottom line. However, every time I debate a friend of mine, you know, Mac versus PC, one of my main arguments is that Macs are very reliable and they last a long time, you know? And I still feel the same way, but I started doubting that argument of mine because it's just, I mean, this is happening to me and I got this laptop less than 3 years ago, you know? So I called Adobe, and this is something that I actually thought was going to be uh, a really hard process to get in contact with someone from Adobe to help me out. But it was actually a very
they're really
pleasant,
good.
yeah, it was a very pleasant conversation, and they were able to help me out in a really, really great way. So I called the guy. I got in contact with someone, you know, 3 or 4 numbers I had to push from the menus and stuff so that they can connect me to the right person. And you know, I told them the whole background issue that I'm having, it's crashing and things like that. And I got in contact with someone, and what they had to do was they actually helped me. I gave them access to access my computer and kind of see what's going on. You know, when they asked me for the warning, like what did it say after it crashed, it was literally something I could not even read. It's something like for coders that would probably know what that stuff meant.
Yeah,
I'm not a coder.
it usually relates to like the error file, which is all code, or relates to a certain code, and they're like impossible to read unless you know that stuff.
Exactly. So for this one though, for this issue, Adobe would at least open, but After Effects was not even opening at all.
At all.
At all. Like I would click to open it, and it would not even open. It would just give me error, you know, error, and it would have that like that hazard, that yellow hazard icon,
Yep.
which I hate. It's like, my goodness, it feels like my computer has a virus, you know? So essentially what they did was they went into the cache of all the files. They literally went deep inside of the entire program. Like I'm watching them do this on my laptop. And they kind of I guess reset all the settings of the actual program, of the software. Now, I had not used After Effects in a very long time on my laptop, and you know, that was actually the initial phone call that I had made to them, was about After Effects. So they reset that, and literally that's it. That was the problem. Like now, you know, I'm here thinking
so they just cleared the cache. You're saying they just went in there and like delete unused cache or whatever, or clear cache, whatever that is.
Something like that. Like it's really hard for me to explain exactly what they did technically. But it was basically they brought me to a folder, which is actually not that deep into the folder files. It brought me into the folder files of After Effects, and it basically kind of reconfigured the settings, and they just put it back to normal. You know, apparently it had a corrupt file somewhere in there.
Yep.
And they just essentially reset the whole thing, and it was working fine. Now, after that happened, then I brought up the issue of Premiere Pro crashing. After literally like a few minutes of editing, it literally just turns off on me. Like it just crashes. So that one was actually not that hard to figure out. So essentially what they did was they brought me over to the preferences of Premiere Pro. And if you guys are having this issue, this is something I advise you to check. So my laptop, this is why I was like a little bit disappointed, because my laptop is actually pretty strong. It has 16 gigs of RAM. It has an i7 processor, and the whole, you know, the whole 9 yards. When I bought it, it was fully decked out. Like I couldn't go any higher in the upgrades. So and it was it's a 2.9 gigahertz i7. I think it's a dual core, quad core, one of those two. So I'm trying to figure out, why is it crashing? Can it not handle this kind of processing power? And so what happened was, the settings inside of Premiere were set to, out of the 16 gigs of RAM, it only allowed, it was only allowing 8 gigabytes. I'm sorry, or 6 or 8 gigabytes to be used by any of the Adobe products. Right. And it kind of was not enough. I don't know how that setting got that way. I don't know if that was by default or what, but so I was able to tell Adobe, like, the actual software. I changed that to 12.
Yeah.
Right. So when
you only allowed 4 for the rest of the computer.
Exactly. Which is more than enough for anything else that I have to do. Now he doesn't recommend me, the customer service rep did not recommend me use Premiere and After Effects at the same time, because I'll probably run into the same issue.
I'm always running both of those at the same time.
On your laptop?
Yeah, I mean, whenever I'm using both, when I need it to link, I hate using when I have a project that is linked to After Effects. I hate not having After Effects open, because I feel like it doesn't link to it as well. It slows it down, or sometimes it doesn't link, and I have to like or find the media and like link the media.
I love the dynamic linking, but
it's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. How often are you using the dynamic linking?
Whenever I put in anything, if I put in like overlays or like watermarks, I don't do them directly in sometimes, because I'll have to like throw in like Luma keys or all kinds of weird things.
How often are you using it in your laptop?
Oh, I'm not using nowadays. I'm not using my laptop much at all in general. In general, not. But if I do and I need After Effects for that project, I open them both. I don't even think twice about doing that. But I haven't had an issue lately, because I really haven't been doing much on my laptop. But Adobe in general, I've had a ton of issues, even on my desktop, which is 32 gigabytes of RAM, and like just like you said, like decked out. This is the most I have anywhere. And Premiere has been an issue for quite a while, but actually Premiere has been doing really well. I'd say the last 2 or 3 weeks, I haven't had any issues, but I'm still having issues with Adobe. And I'm going to look into some of the stuff you said. It just randomly crashes and brings up one of those boxes and shuts down.
Yeah.
I was having stuff with the Premiere where it would just literally shut off completely. No error message, no nothing. It would just disappear.
How dare they?
I know. But at least they, when that happened, it wouldn't save anything. But otherwise, any other crashes, it would save a copy, like an auto-save copy. So, it's just a pain to keep opening and closing it. And sometimes whatever I was doing was causing it to crash because it was too much, or it wasn't too much. So that's the thing. It's like, now it works. But whatever they had going on, it wasn't working. But I do think that they've made some adjustments to Premiere, because that has been a lot better of late. But I'm still having Adobe After Effects issues.
So Twisted Arc Productions here says that his crashes, he's from Utah, by the way. Welcome over here, bud. He mentions that I think it's his Premiere Pro, I want to say, crashes and gives him a blue screen of death. Have you ever noticed anything like that? A blue screen?
He's talking about for Windows. That won't happen with Macs.
Oh, okay.
So you've never, I don't know how long it's been since you've been on Windows, but I mean, I'm sure you know of it. That blue screen that says like, honestly, I don't remember what it says. I haven't used them forever, but that you can't do anything when that comes up. Your computer is like dead. Yeah. You got to start it, maybe like start it in safe mode, and you got to do all these, that's like literally death. There's something really, really wrong with your computer when that happens. So that's what he's talking about, but that doesn't happen on Macs. Or I've never experienced anything similar to it either. So that's what he's talking about. Then that's not good.
That's interesting. So I don't know what the consensus is out there. Like, I don't know how many issues Adobe is having with Macs, and then how many more or how many less issues Adobe is having with Premiere. That'd be an interest. I'm sorry, with Mac, and then with PC. That would be interesting to find out.
Yeah.
So my computer my computer, when I found that out, I came over to my computer, to my desktop computer, and I saw where was mine set, the RAM, like I told you. So I changed on my laptop, I changed it from 6 to 12, right? So I basically doubled the amount of RAM that it can use, and it's been fine for now.
Yep.
And I don't try to push it anymore. Maybe in a year or two, I might update that. Now on my computer, I have 64 gigs of RAM here.
Nice.
And I have, it's using 54. So I set it
Holy crap
to 54 gigs of RAM to be able to be used by Premiere or any Adobe products.
And you have a Mac at home, right?
Yeah, I have a tower.
You have 60. Oh, you have a Mac Pro.
Mac Pro, yes.
Okay,
yes.
got you. Okay, yeah. Cool.
So I have a tower. I actually recently updated the storage on it. I'm starting to replace all the storage internally with SSDs. And I actually added, because it doesn't come standard with 3.0, with a 3.0 USB.
USBs, yeah.
So I updated the card.
What year is that?
Mine, I think, is a 2010.
And you just updated to 3.0s when? Oh, 2010. Wow.
Yeah.
When did you update it to the 3.0s?
Like a couple months ago. So
you're not interested in potentially updating it to the USB-C?
I didn't even know that was possible.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know that
tower.
I don't know that it is or isn't. I'm just assuming, like, since that's the next thing, it would be their product. Like, it's an Apple connection.
Maybe, I don't know. I would get the card if it's available.
Right.
I totally would. But I have so many drives. I have so many drives connected to this computer, and I had 2 empty slots. I still have 1 more empty slot that I can put a card in there. And my goal was to eliminate the amount of connections or USB hubs that I had going into one port, you know? But yeah, I mean, that, you know, if I could even use Thunderbolt or USB-C, that'd be lovely if it's much faster and all that. So yeah. But yeah, so yeah, my computer is man, I see this again now. It's a 3.4 6 core.
This is your desktop.
My desktop.
6 core.
It has two 3.4 6 core processors. So it's a 12 core processor.
Wow. Very cool, man. That's nice.
And to think that I just bought this from my friend that was just trying to get rid of it. It's crazy.
Get a good deal, I assume.
Yeah. Well, yeah, 2,400.
Nice. Wow. What? 2,400. I think I paid $4,000 for my desktop, and it's 32 gigabyte, 4 gigahertz. Well, i7.
He was cleaning out house. Like, he was just trying to get rid of his stuff more than anything, and he just offered it to me, and I'm like, okay. I was looking for a new computer, and I saw that. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to be needing a new computer here for a little while. The cool thing is that it's updatable, so upgradable.
Yeah, that is cool.
So yeah,
I've wanted a Mac Pro, and was it a couple years ago or about a year and a half or 2 years ago when I got this one. They were supposed to be coming out with a new one, and it like never happened. So I was like trying to wait for that, but I was like, I can't wait any longer. I need something that their whole thing with Mac Pros and updating them, they're just not on time with them at all. It's like they have an idea of what they want to do and it doesn't get done, which is a bummer because like I keep waiting for that new one, and it's.
I think have they discontinued the current Mac Pros, the ones that look like trash cans?
I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah, no, never mind it, because it's still on their website.
Update them, and they just haven't done it.
I heard a rumor. Or I read a rumor, one of those two, that the next year the new Mac Pros are coming out, and they're basically going to be like these towers but more modern.
Right. Well, yeah. See, that's what I heard 2 years ago when I was ready to get a new one. I was like, should I wait? I'm glad I didn't, because I would have been waiting for nothing.
Right.
But I hope they do soon, man. That'd be really interesting. Unfortunately, I don't really need a new one right now, but I would be tempted.
Sure. Yeah. You know? So I wanna go ahead and talk about this ProRes RAW thing. This ProRes RAW thing, and it's gonna be a short conversation because I think I'm doing something wrong. And it's definitely, I have a feeling that it has something to do with my lack of knowledge with Final Cut Pro 10. I don't know if I'm importing this stuff wrong or what, but so basically what I'm referring to is I've been I'm on a free trial. I did mention
I still haven't found or even looked for that license, man. I gotta look for that. That's so stupid. Sorry,
right.
go ahead.
So I still mentioned I had mentioned that I on my social media that I didn't want to buy, remember the whole system. But I didn't know. Somebody had messaged me and said, "Hey, dude, I heard your podcast. Did you know that you can get a free 30-day trial?" I'm like, "No, I did not know that." So I went on the Apple website and I downloaded the free trial. So for those of you that don't have Final Cut Pro 10 and you want to test that stuff out, you can get a 30-day free trial over at the Apple website. That's pretty cool. Anyways, I've as soon as I saw that, I downloaded it right away. I went outside. I got some ProRes raw footage with my FS5 and Shogun Inferno, and I brought it back in. You know, it looks like regular ProRes to me. And then, and obviously, I understand that you'll see the benefits when you start editing it, when you start coloring it. And I purposely overexposed several shots to see how much detail I can bring back. And what I saw was nothing at all. Nothing. Now I have to, like, for a fact, like I've seen how people are editing this and it looks like raw, like it looks like I've seen stuff that people are bringing back that I could not believe.
Right.
So I try to expose it the exact same way. And again, I'm looking at the same dials that they're using, the color wheels and everything, and I'm bringing that, you know, the exposure back down, and nothing. Like everything is already clipped. Whatever is clipped, it stays clipped, you know. So that's where I got to say I'm doing something wrong. I go into the I don't know if, because so I know in Premiere Pro when you're editing raw footage, there are two panels. The first one panel is the master panel. That's where you start editing all the metadata. That's where you can control
the raw data,
the raw data. And then the other panel is where you, I don't know what the other panel is. It's like the main panel.
With ProRes RAW, now that you've seen it in there, I like you said, you don't know, potentially it's just a software issue that you don't understand it. Does it look, do you think there is, and I haven't, from what I've seen, actually video you showed me, it just looks like somebody pulls down the exposure. They're not pulling down, let's say, the ISO in the metadata. They're just pulling down exposure, right?
Exactly.
So is it raw or not? Like, is it just really high dynamic range, or is there a place where you can pull down stuff in the metadata as opposed to just pulling down exposure?
Right. So that's what I started.
What's happening?
That's what I started trying to find out. Like, how is that done so that I can do the same thing? Like, I want to test it out myself, and I just can't find it. How or why? Is it the way that I imported it? Is it the fact? Is it the
you recorded it correctly?
Right. No, and is it the way
I'm asking, like, you're sure you recorded it? Like,
yeah. So I go into the files and I go get info, and you'll see right on the codec, it'll say, well, let me double check while we're live. Just in case. So yeah, I still have my my SSD connected.
What is the the extension? Is it an MOV file?
Look, so the last clip I recorded was 11 seconds long, and it's 1.49 gigabytes. That sounds like a ProRes RAW file. So let me go into the get info part here.
11 seconds, gigabyte.
Yeah.
That sounds big.
Yeah, that is pretty big for you know, ProRes RAW and stuff. But actually the codec here does not say ProRes RAW, and I doubt that it would have. It says linear PCM APRH. I don't know what that means.
What's the extension, did you say? What is the file extension?
It's an MOV file.
It is MOV.
The .mov file. But it doesn't, like, in the actual clip information, it does not say ProRes RAW. I don't know if it should or shouldn't.
Right.
I'm honestly, I mean, the monitor itself says ProRes RAW. but I don't know if that's what it's giving me. But I'm telling you, that is not like, if it was ProRes RAW, I would be able to bring that information back, just like I would see on those YouTube channels, on those YouTube accounts. I think what's it, Caleb, DSLR video shooter.
He just released one like an hour ago. I didn't get to watch it yet.
Yeah, no, it looks great. He actually gives a great breakdown. That's actually the first of 3 that he's going to be releasing.
Yeah, so it's part 1.
Yeah, and he actually broke it down really well. I actually have a better understanding of codecs.
Okay.
So yeah, I definitely advise you guys to check that out. Man, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I'm definitely doing something wrong, because if that's the codec, if that's what they're talking about, then I should be able to bring that detail back in the highlights.
Right.
Raw footage. So
yeah, I mean, I'd be interested to see what it is. When you figure it out, that'd be good info just for anyone else starting out. I mean, if I ever get to it, then I'll know what not to do or what to do, you know?
Yeah. And I started looking around. I don't know if it was the way that I imported it, because I know that in Premiere you have to import raw footage a certain way. So I started seeing if that was the same case for Final Cut Pro 10.
Right.
Again, it could be that I haven't used the program in so long that I pretty much forgot about how to do that stuff.
Right.
Or maybe they changed their process of doing it. But yeah, I mean, I'm not sure how
well, I mean, that's an interesting
I got 30. I got
update. I was excited to hear that it was awesome, but I'm a little bummed.
I have 29 more days to figure it out. So,
all right.
I got to keep playing with that. Anyway, so that was some good stuff there. I hope people were able to, I guess, figure more stuff out about the configurations of their Premiere Pro, After Effects, and pretty much other Adobe products. I want to go ahead and read a question here that I received online. It's actually a very general question that we've spoken more or less about this oftentimes, but I just wanted to do it, kind of bring this back up again. The question is, any tips on a newly graduated film student wanting to enter the world of movie making? I'm headed off to Berlin for some greener pastures. So what I would tell anybody, it's funny because I think that Nike has the best quote, just do it, you know. What you want to make, start making that, you know. Don't wait for you to have clients for you to make stuff, you know. Now, obviously, this doesn't apply to everyone. You have to, I guess, determine what your situation and your status is. I won't give the same advice to a newly film school graduate that I would give to someone that is already married with kids and has some responsibilities. You have to determine your own situation, whether or not you can afford to take some risk. So that's what I would basically say. Just continue to create stuff, put your stuff out there, learn. Just because you graduated film school the learning never, ever stops. See what other people are making. If you see something you like, try to figure out how they did it. If you want to try to implement that into your own work. And yeah, just keep putting stuff out there. Keep putting stuff out there. You're going to get feedback. And, sometimes it's going to be bad feedback. You got to be ready for that. Sometimes it'll be good feedback. Some things that you can build off of. And that's essentially what I would say. I don't know what you would add to that.
If anyone watches my YouTube episodes all the way through, my last line is always don't wait, go create. And it's really what got me going on YouTube. I just decided, it's not that I wasn't creating or anything. I was doing all this work, but sometimes you get stuck in the same kind of corporate work, or I just felt not completely fulfilled, and I wanted to do other things and keep my creative mind working, and not just actually working on projects for clients and do some of my own stuff. So my idea was like, man, I got to stop being such a perfectionist, because that's something you get into sometimes. And two was like saying, oh, you know what? I want to do this, but I need more time. I'm going to wait to do that when I have this much time. And like, I just forced myself to do it and just do it. Right.
Sure.
But so another way of putting that in our terms, instead of just do it, I'll say, don't wait, go create. And you literally, like you're saying, go do it. You got to go create and just keep doing it. You have to practice. There's no other way to learn. Like you can watch all this stuff and it's good to know, but there's no other way to actually learn besides doing it. And it's the best. Trial and error is the only way you're going to really get better. So get out there, start creating, don't stop creating. And I also heard Gary Vee recently. I don't know if anyone watches him. He said something recently that got me thinking, or that I really liked, I guess. And it's not something I felt like it's something I do, and I was proud of that, was that whatever you do choose to do, run in that direction. It might not be the right direction, but it's going to lead you to the next thing. And you might take a left turn and start going that way, but just keep running. Don't take your time and think like, oh, I'll do it when, next year or next week. And a lot of things do take some scheduling and you can't do them immediately. I understand that. But in general, if you want to be a filmmaker, go do it. Run in that direction. And eventually you'll either hit a wall and it won't be your thing, or you'll take a turn and go in a little bit different direction, but kind of on the same path. But the idea is like, just go for it, get out there and do it. There's no other way. Just don't sit on your butt. That's the only thing I'm saying. Just get out there.
That's good, man. And what I would also add, from a business point of view, I would definitely obviously, and I think this should go without saying, but I don't know, sometimes maybe business is not natural to people, but what I would say is, don't turn down work just because you don't like it. If you have a client and they're willing to pay, go for it. And you know what? Maybe you'll discover, and I've heard this story so many times, maybe you'll discover a part of the industry that you really like. A lot of the projects that we do is a lot of interview stuff, is a lot of corporate stuff that we do. But every now and then, I mean, maybe you'll find out that you like to shoot weddings. I'm not personally, I'm not a big fan of shooting weddings myself. I try to stay away from that. But I mean, what I tell people, I do weddings for my friends and family, and usually I do it for free. I just do them the favor, and that's basically my wedding gift to them, but one way that I try to stay away from weddings is that I put a high price on that.
I was just gonna, I mean, we've talked about this before, and I'm the same way. Weddings has been one thing that I don't do. I won't do them. If someone really, really wants a quote on it, I give them a ridiculous price. If they accept it, I'm probably gonna hire somebody to do it. Sure. I just don't have interest in it, and I've learned that. So I'm assuming when you're saying this, you're giving this advice to newer filmmakers, because early on, I did everything.
Yeah, no, absolutely
anything.
Yeah, let me rephrase exactly what I said. That's what I do now. Yeah. When I started, I accepted everything and anything that came my way, and I think it's a good way to get your feet wet in different areas. Not only weddings, just with events, with even 15s, things like that. I don't think I ever shot a 15th before, but anyways, that's still an option. Like, you can still do things like that. And if you don't, and going back to the first thing that I actually mentioned, making work for yourself, even though you don't have work. What I used to do was I would go to businesses and offer them a free video. It basically just gives me something to do.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about that is that since they're not paying, you're not obligated to provide something with like crazy awesome quality, so it's just, you're giving them something for free, but you're practicing, you're making something that you like. So that's essentially my advice.
Yeah, just to add to that, like you're saying, you create work by going to these companies and stuff, which is great because it helps you build your resume, and you have stuff for actual companies that people don't know if they paid for it or not. So when you show them, it's like, oh, I did work for them. It's on their website,
Yeah.
So that helps your resume. And then also, and this is something I think we both still do, when an opportunity comes up that is good for you for a learning experience, or is good for you as a connection. Maybe somebody offers you something. It's like, hey, I'm doing this. For example, like when we shot Zion, you know, we asked people to come along. It was a good opportunity, I hope, for them to come work with us, you know? So people were up for doing that for free. I still do stuff for free, much, much less nowadays. But when it's an opportunity, I think that will help me advance in some way. If it's by working with another director or producer that I really want to get involved with, because I know the stuff he does, and I want to down the road work with him more. So that's another thing too, is you said, I just want to say this because you said, don't turn down work. I wouldn't early on turn down anything, even if someone says, hey, do you want to come shoot this with me? I don't have any budget, or I have very little budget,
Right.
you know? I think early on that's important. And like I said, that carries on, that will carry on through your career. And, you know, it slows down for sure. And I don't know that it ever comes to a full stop. You'll probably still do things here and there pro bono, but just do what you can early. Do everything you can early. Figure it out.
I had a really nice pro bono gig early in my career. A friend asked me to come and help out on a film that he's shooting in Nevada, in the desert of Nevada, and he didn't have a budget to pay me, but obviously he'll pay me for he'll take care of all the flight, the food, everything, all accommodations. But he didn't have like extra budget to pay me. I'm like, for sure, that was an opportunity. I've never like, I wasn't back then. I wasn't flying as much at all. Actually, I wasn't flying at all, much less for work. So that was actually my first time flying for what I do, which was a great experience for sure. And it was a nice.
I'm sure you were happy to do it. It was exciting.
For sure. For sure. I was just happy. We were out there for 5 days, and it ended up he actually had a little extra budget. He was actually very honest. He had a little bit extra in his budget, so he was able to pay me something.
So. Oh, cool.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, all that stuff was out of pocket for him. So whatever. Anyways, I think that's it for this episode, man. That was a little bit of a tech talk with regards to computers, a little starter advice there. And some ProRes and ProRes RAW information there. So if anybody,
mix of stuff today.
Yeah, going back to the whole ProRes RAW, if anybody knows how to troubleshoot that stuff, like I really don't know what I'm doing.
There was one comment here on YouTube that I read. Let me just go back to figure out where it is. Somebody said it has something to do with still has to be within the restraints of the gain ISO. Where is it? Was it that far back? Do you see it?
That was my tech living. Yeah, I remember seeing that comment.
Where'd it go? It's like it disappeared on here. I thought I saw somebody mention that you know, that it has to still be within the limits per se, you know. So I don't know if you like completely overexposed and lost stuff, so maybe that's why it's not coming back.
Sure. But I gotta tell you, man, I've seen some extremely, and when you see Caleb's video, DSLR video, the shots that he was able to bring back all the detail of what anybody would consider clipped, like an unusable.
Yep.
I refuse to believe that I overexposed and it's too far for what I can bring back.
Right.
And even with that, I barely brought back anything. So to not bring back anything at all, I'm doing something wrong. I truly believe I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess
we look forward to you figuring it out so you can tell us all about it. I mean, I look forward to it at least.
Yeah, with that, I'm actually, as soon as I figure it out, I'm going to go ahead and be posting that stuff. So follow me on my social media. It's at arielmartinez.tv. You can also follow Mr. Saratelli. It's at Jersey Filmmaker. Dude, I just found out that you had another Instagram. Like
my personal one?
You have a personal one.
Yeah, I don't promote that. It's just
that's fine. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I just see it at the Instagram. I'm like, wow. Look at this guy's
yeah, I'm a person too. You know, I don't just go by the pseudo name of Jersey Filmmaker.
Anyways, you guys can follow him at Jersey Filmmaker. Stay away from his personal one.
It's public. You can if you want, but I don't post much on there.
Yeah, so for my business, my personal one is my business one. I just keep it together. But anyways, you can follow us there. Check out Jersey Filmmaker YouTube channel. He's constantly putting out video reviews and some good content out there. And stay tuned. Stay tuned for these upcoming, I guess, collaborations that we're going to be doing with this with companies coming up. Don't want to mention their names yet. And
Of
get
course.
subscribed.
Yes.
Get subscribed, because this Friday, May 18th, May 18th on Friday this week, we're going to be doing a live interview with Ryan Connolly from Film Riot. So make sure that you're subscribed, get notified when we go live. That's going to be at 12 p.m. So you know the time, you know when we're gonna be going live.
This is exciting for me, man. It was so cool to run into him at NAB. And again, this is why doing something like that and networking is such a cool opportunity. So you guys know that's how we got this interview. We ran into him at NAB. I was doing a presentation with ICANN. He actually, with his most recent film, used ICANN lights. So he was over there speaking to some of the management. I happened to be there, so we got to meet. Then the next day you came in, we ran into him again, and we just started chit-chatting again. Talked to him about the podcast. So it's just really cool to network like that.
And apparently he had already heard the podcast.
Yeah,
so
that's right. He mentioned he had heard it. So that was really cool. And it was nice and fairly easy to get him on here. And we're excited that he's coming and honored.
We're basically BFFs now. Like, we started talking, and yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he was the, Film Riot is how I learned and got into more filmmaking, as opposed to just like making videos, which is how I started and just thought it was cool to be goofy with a camera. But he got me into more storytelling, filmmaking. So it's cool for me, as it's like when I played baseball, it would have been like meeting Derek Jeter type thing, So I'm excited about this. Really cool for us I think it's gonna be really cool for you guys to hear what he has to say.
Definitely. Looking forward to that interview. If you guys have any questions that you want to send beforehand, you can go ahead and we're gonna start making a list of these questions. You can go and send them over to iFilmmakerpodcast@gmail.com. You could also comment on the show notes for this podcast. If you want, go over to iFilmmakerpodcast.com and check that out. You can contact us there. I feel like I'm missing something.
No, I mean, I think that's good for today. We covered a good amount of stuff.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. And we thank everyone that joined us live, everyone that joined in on the conversation. We encourage everybody to continue to get subscribed over here so you can join the conversation while we're live, ask your questions, and, get within the conversation. It's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to episode number 100 and so on. So we're going to continue going with this podcast, because we definitely enjoy doing this. It's a lot of fun and relatively easy to upkeep. So yeah, looking forward to the future of the iFilmmaker podcast. Anyways, until the next episode, Mr. Saratelli, I'll see you on the next one.
See ya.